We've had a nice little run of UFC events all over the world, all over the country, traveling. It felt like the good old days. But we are headed back to the Apex for one more card before UFC 305. And that card is UFC Vegas 95, headlined by a heavyweight rematch. My name is Angelo. This is We Want Picks, and I'm going to break down the entire UFC Vegas 95 fight card, giving you my picks, predictions, and bets. Before we break down this card, let's spend 30 seconds and talk about UFC Abu Dhabi. Wildly successful for us. We were up almost 6 units. Our bets absolutely crushed. It was a great event for We Want Picks and the We Want Picks community. The event was very chalk heavy, so anybody going crazy chasing dogs did not do that well. There was also a lot of decisions for a card that had some firepower on it. Umar Nurmagomedov had an absolutely spectacular performance. He won the striking, he won the wrestling, he won the grappling to prove that he's probably next in line for a title. And Mackenzie Dern looked the best she's ever looked. If you want to hear more about that card, get my raw reactions. Literally as soon as that card was over, I filmed an entire breakdown video talking about every single fight, what my thoughts and takeaways were. This is the thumbnail. No Home Alone face. Just regular, curious face. That's the thumbnail. Go check it out. Jacob and I weren't the only ones that had a ton of success last night. The community went wild. Our premium members, the people who go to WeWantPicks.com, they click become a member. It's freaking $10 for an entire month. They went off. The amount of DMs, tweets, the amount of messages, everything in the Discord, the amount of people that were like, we did it. We did it. We Want Picks does it again was crazy. And what's funny is it felt like, I don't want to say an easy card because no card is easy, but the card felt like, all right, things are going well. Everybody's probably making money on this card. Pretty straightforward. No wild upsets. This is a pretty straightforward card. But then I go to Twitter, and it would look like a graveyard. It looked like people got obliterated on Twitter. Every capper, not my night. It wasn't a good night. Things didn't go well. And then Jacob and I are like, well, we did well. This is crazy. If this isn't the sign to go sign up for premium membership, I don't know what is. This is your community talking. And premium membership isn't just like, here's my bets, copy exactly, and if I win, you win. And yeah, there is some of that, especially with the safety parlay. The safety parlay dominates. We're up to a 73% event win rate on this one single bet. 7-2 in the last 9 events. The safety parlay is the beacon of stability. It's a parlay that we put up for every single event, and it hits at an alarming accuracy. You can unlock the safety parlay now. Go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member. It's only $10 for an entire month, so you're going to get the safety parlay for Vegas 95, for UFC 305, and whatever the other events are after that for an entire month. But the website isn't just, here's a couple of bets, copy, paste. It's not some dumbed-down Patreon that people slap together. It is a full-blown interactive website with tools, insight, and information. One of those tools is the data analyzer. This is a tool that we coded from scratch. You go to the website, you click on tools, you click on data analyzer, and this is going to give you data for every fighter on upcoming fight cards all the way through September. Once you select your fighter, you see all the normal stats, biometrics, striking stats, grappling stats at a high level. Then you can add filters and say, you know what, I want to see how many strikes they land in wins. I want to see how many they land in decision wins. And then this chart will update itself dynamically, and every dot on this chart is the actual fight itself, and you can click the button and go watch the fight. I used it this week when breaking down the lady fight with the rematch. Instead of going and digging for that fight to watch the first one, I went here, I sorted, I clicked the dot, boom, I watched it. The data analyzer is the greatest research tool on the planet. You're also going to get the prop hunter. This is a new tool as well that we added a few weeks ago that people have been using to clean up on Prize Picks, Underdog, and their sportsbooks props. It's a curated set of data specifically designed to help you find prop bets. You're also going to get the line movement tracker. This is going to give you the current odds, the opening odds, the win probability, and the line movement for every fighter on every card. You're going to get a DraftKings optimizer that builds DraftKings lineups for you. Last week, somebody took down a $17,000 tournament with the optimizer. And then today, I got a couple of DMs with people winning a couple grand here and there saying, not first place, but the optimizer built this lineup. Every single freaking thing that I just mentioned and more are all included in one $10 package. It's not $10 for betting, $10 for DFS, whatever other bullshit people are doing out there. It is quite literally the greatest value in this space, and it's on purpose. It's on purpose. We have well over 3,000. We're creeping on 4,000 premium members. And that's because the value is undeniable. The tools you get are unbelievable. The bets have been crushing. And we're going to keep it at $10 forever because we are in the growth business. This is the Costco business model. If I give you a great product at a low price, I will get a ton of members. And that's what we're doing here. Unlock all of this now. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. And I understand that was a more passionate promo than normal. And that's because I 100% genuinely believe in that product. You cannot find another product on the planet that is better than the We Want Picks premium membership. You just can't. Even if we removed bets, which we're not doing. Let's say we remove bets, it's just tools. Still the greatest value. Each individual tool is worth $10, let alone the concatenation of all of them. All right, I'm done. I promise. I'm done. Let's go ahead and break down this card. It's interesting because we had UFC 304. The event wasn't great, meaning it didn't deliver with the most exciting fights in the world, but we had a nice upset in the main event, a couple of highlights here and there, something to talk about. It was in another country. Then we had Abu Dhabi. Good card overall. Fights were okay, a couple of back and forth, a couple of finishes, decent card, but it was in another country, different backdrop, a crowd, felt big. And it is always a little bit of taking a wind out of the sails when it's back to the Apex. And this is a decent card. There's some good fights on this card. But the Apex is just something about it. On one hand, when we get Apex, right? When we hit the UFC Vegas cards, one right after another, and that's the Saturday. I actually don't mind. You get into that rhythm of it's small, it's quiet, you get to watch the fights, it's nice and easy. And when they're in the middle of the day, it's not so bad. But coming off a couple of big events with a live crowd, bang, Apex, it's I don't know. It's just got a weird feel to it. I still am excited for this card, and I have said this many times. I would rather have Apex cards every Saturday than only cards with crowds every other Saturday. And not that that was a choice, but if it was, that's the direction I'm going. But opening up the UFC Vegas 95 fight card, we have Danny Barlow taking on Nikolay Veretennikov. And if I say it slow, I don't have a lisp, I don't mumble over my letters, and nobody's got shit to say in the comments. So good luck with that. Big Ange figured out the speech impediment. Danny Barlow's solid. Danny Barlow is good. He's also a 3-1 favorite here, and that's because he's a rangy striker. He has real power. He wants to work at that range. He'll enter the pocket with some lead uppercuts and some hooks. Even though he has a bunch of early finishes, he does take his time. He waits for his shot. He's composed. He doesn't really headhunt. He's got some powerful kicks as well. All around a very dangerous guy. If you pressure him, he doesn't love it. And when that does happen, he'll shell up and then he'll start to shoot some takedowns. On the ground, he's got some solid BJJ, good positioning. He's coming off that third-round KO win over Josh Quinlan in his UFC debut. He's taking on Nikolay Veretennikov. Ooh, I did it fast that time. Powerful, aggressive striker. He plots forward. He will send everything with power. He will occasionally set up some low kicks, but for the most part, he comes in, he throws big hooks, and he will launch punches at your face. He's a durable guy. He has no problem with a dogfight. You can exploit his wrestling holes, but even if you take him down, he stays busy. He works his way back up. He is riding a 3-fight win streak into a short notice UFC debut. I mentioned Danny Barlow sitting at a 3-1 favorite right now, and that feels wide. That feels wide. 3-1 favorite. He only has 8 fights, and yes, he looked good in his last fight, and he probably wins here. He's the more well-rounded MMA fighter. But Nikolay is no joke. He has power. He has a chin. He is not afraid to make fights ugly. And yes, Danny Barlow looked great in his last fight, but that was against Josh Quinlan. And Josh Quinlan hasn't looked good since USADA showed up at his door. And when I said USADA, and when I bragged about losing the lisp and not fumbling over my letters, you know, the universe is going to get you. So USADA instead of USADA. But when they popped Josh Quinlan, he never looked the same. So Danny Barlow smoking a post-USADA Josh Quinlan, you got to put a little bit of, you got to look at that a little objectively. I do think Danny Barlow wins. I think these odds are gone. I don't think you can touch these odds. I think there's just way too much going on for you to be laying down 3-1 on somebody who's relatively unproven. And this is one of the few fights, listen, I know I'm not always the most conviction-heavy person, right? Last week, I was like, Muhammad Yahya blows, that guy loses, next fight. Okay, fine. This fight, you're not going to get a ton of conviction out of me. Nikolay is the more proven fighter, but he's not the more well-rounded guy. Danny Barlow's the more well-rounded guy, but unproven. He might be phenomenal. He's 8-0. He might be unbelievable. Or he might just be looking good against guys who are not standing in his face fighting him. The most impressive thing about Danny Barlow in his last fight is the fact that the KO was in the 3rd round. He kept the power late. I'm still feeling this fight out. Let's see what happens when the props drop. Danny's going to be the pick for now because of the well-roundedness. But the reality is Nikolay Veretennikov, man, I nailed it. I'm very proud of myself. The fact that Nikolay Veretennikov is not afraid of a striking match and will march forward and will bomb away could be a problem for Danny Barlow, who doesn't like pressure. So stay away from this fight, especially at these odds. There's no value at 3-1. There's none. Just leave it alone. You don't have to bet on every fight. If you're part of the We Want Picks community, we cleaned up last week. Keep some of that money. Don't just start blowing it this week. Then we have, okay. I was bragging about Veretennikov. Oh boy. We're spiraling. And then the next fight is Charalampos, Grigoriou. So guys, we're gonna it's a Sunday morning, and we're gonna move forward, and we're gonna do what I do, which is put out high quality content on a schedule and never miss. But what we don't need to do is get all nitpicky with the names. If you want to help me out with the names, what you can do is comment on the video how to pronounce it phonetically. And I watch the tape. I hear John Anik say it, and then I hear it, and then when I go to say it, it's like the game of telephone. It just doesn't come out the same way it came. So you want to help me out? How do you say Charalampos? Grigoriou. We got Toshiomi Kazama taking on Charalampos Grigoriou. We'll get through it. Charalampos, powerful striker, heavy leg kicks, absolutely will chop down that tree, and he can win fights just with the leg kicks. He can grapple as well. He's got big takedowns, heavy top pressure. Overall, he's a solid prospect. He can win fights both on the feet and on the ground. He's coming off that loss to Chad Anheliger in his UFC debut, where he did get his wrestling going, but he couldn't find his rhythm on the feet. He's taken on Toshiomi Kazama. He's a solid grappler in his own right. He lets his hands go on the feet. His takedown defense can use a little bit of work, but offensively, his takedowns are pretty good. He can scramble, he can sweep, he can even submit. He is a grapple-first guy, bit chinny on his feet. He's coming off back-to-back first-round TKO losses, the most recent to Garrett Armfield. That's tough. This is a pretty easy breakdown for me. Kazama's not very good. He's supposed to be a grapple-first guy and hasn't been able to get his grappling going at all in the UFC. He isn't offensively dangerous enough or defensively tough enough to hang through some of these fights. So Charalampos should win here. He is going to be the pick, one of my more confident picks on the card, and I think he's being set up for success here. So whether I can say his name correctly or not doesn't matter. He is going to be the pick. Then we have a nice little rematch. This is the redemption card. We have a rematch here. We have Stephanie Luciano taking on Talita Alencar. And last time I broke down Talita, I could not help myself. I don't know why. I see Talita, and it just sounds like a redneck. Talita! It just seems like some backwoods redneck. Talita, get in here, Talita! You left the pot on. And she's not even American. But this is a rematch. In the first fight, it was a draw. One of these fighters controlled the striking. The other one controlled the grappling. It was 2-1 heading into the third, and then we got a 10-8 to square that up and force a draw. The UFC said, run it back. Let's see this fight again. And what's interesting is the betting odds and the public opinion are very, very different. And we'll talk about that in a second. First, let's break down these fighters. Stephanie Luciano is a busy striker. She likes to come forward. She wants to close the distance. She wants to get you to the cage if she can and then work you to the ground. If she gets you to the ground, she'll camp out. She'll rack up some control time while staying safe and occasionally working in some elbows. She's not very dangerous, but she is always moving forward. She has plenty of cardio, and her last fight was against Talita in that draw. Talita is an accomplished grappler. A very accomplished grappler. All sorts of accolades, world champion this, national champion that. She transitioned to MMA a few years ago. She comes out guns blazing on the feet. She chases takedowns. She looks to get it to the ground almost immediately. Once it gets to the ground, she's busy. She's got striking, and she will actually strike before looking for submissions. Even though she's a very accomplished grappler, she's mostly looking for control. She's not chasing wild submissions, right? She'll get the takedown. She'll get the control. She'll land some strikes. If there's a submission there, she'll go for it, but she's not going to be rolling around crazy. Her takedowns are not very good. She relies on her strength for the most part. Her striking is not very good. So if she cannot get a takedown, she's always going to be at a disadvantage. I mentioned this is a rematch. In this fight, the rematch, Stephanie's the favorite. So you would think that the first fight, Stephanie dominated, right? She's the favorite now. She must have dominated the first fight. But that's not what happened. She had some success, especially in the striking, but she was going to lose that fight. She lost the first round. She lost the second round. She squeaked out a 10-8 in the third, which you could argue, was that actually a 10-8? And then that's what forced the draw. Luciano proved, though, that she can defend submissions. She proved she can defend takedowns. She proved that she has plenty of cardio and proved she doesn't quit. So she is going to be the pick here. But again, she was losing that first fight. She was losing it. And then Alencar gassed, which is why we ended up with a draw. So choose wisely here. But Luciano, I got to go that direction because we saw how tough she was. And there's two schools of thought here. You could either say, okay, well, we watched them fight already. We watched them fight for 3 rounds, and one woman won 2 of those rounds, so I'm going to pick that woman. Or you can say, we watched them fight already, and I watched one of these women basically quit, and the other one never stopped moving, continued to come forward, and did everything possible to try to win that fight. That's the direction I'm going to go. I'm going to go with the woman that I saw just bite down on her mouthpiece and do everything possible to try to win the fight, not the one that was up 2-0, sort of trying to coast her way to a win. And also, Talita did not have, she went 4 for 24 in takedown attempts against Luciano in that first fight, and without the takedowns, she's not winning. So this is a rematch. It is tricky, because Talita, I tend to lean grapplers. I tend to lean wrestlers. And if Talita can get the wrestling going, this is a clear win for her. But I don't think it's going to happen. Luciano is the pick. Then we have Yana Santos taking on Chelsea Chandler. This is another fight where the community pick and the betting odds are not the same thing. In the last fight, the betting odds had Luciano as the favorite. The community picked Alencar. In this fight, similar situation. Yana Santos is the favorite, and everybody has picked Chelsea Chandler. And I understand, but let's be careful. Because we got Yana Santos, Yana Kunitskaya a few years ago. She married Tiago Moreta Santos, so the last name changed, obviously. She's a high-volume striker. She lands around 4 significant strikes per minute. She does not have a ton of power, but she's got a lot of output. She'll mix things up really well. She's got nice kicks. She'll use those to maintain distance. She does have some offensive wrestling as well, which we've seen in a couple of fights. But it does come with a low 53% takedown accuracy and an even lower 42% takedown defense. She's coming off her 3rd loss in a row, this time to Karol Rosa, where she had the striking but was taken down and lost a split decision. She's taken on Chelsea Chandler, giant ass Chelsea Chandler. She's a well-rounded fighter, well-rounded enough. She comes forward, she'll throw bombs, she'll push you against the cage, and she'll work for takedown. She's very big, very strong, and she uses all of that to rip you to the ground and control you from there. She's not very fast, she's not very athletic, but she's tough, she's powerful, and she just will not stop coming forward. She's coming out with a decision win over Joseanne Nunes, where she was just big. She won with big. Hey, Chelsea, what was your game plan going into this fight? To be big. That was the game plan, and it worked. She was big. This fight's a race to the bottom. Yana's on a 3-fight skid. Chelsea has shown that skill-wise, she's not very good, and that makes this a hard fight to pick because Yana Santos is the better fighter. Period. She's got good technical strike. Like, Yana Santos is the better fighter. She's head and shoulders above Chelsea as far as these skills are concerned. But she's on a skid. She might just be phoning it in at this point. Chelsea, on the other hand, is working her ass off. She's working hard. She's trying to build a career for herself. But she's just not very good. She's big, and that's pretty much where the skills end. So you either think Yana wins here with superior technique, or Chelsea loafs forward and wins by size. I'll let you pick. It's tough to pick here. I'm going to say Chelsea because of size. Size matters, which is why I have such a happy wife, because size matters. But the reality is, I think she can just be big. If Yana has a lot of success striking at distance, Chelsea can just hold her against the cage. Just lean on her. Be big. Yana Santos isn't Norma Dumont, right? Norma Dumont pieced up Chelsea. Literally had her running. That's not what we're going to get here. I think Chelsea Chandler slows down the pace, leans on Yana, holds her against the cage, and goes from there. Here is my caution to you. Not all picks are the same. I know some people like to just track every pick. And it's just black or white. Oh, there's the pick. Let's think about the fight I just broke down here and the fight we broke down before it. Or we'll go back to the Grigoriou fight. I said Grigoriou wins that fight. I'm pretty confident in that. Okay, that's a pick. Here I'm saying I think Chelsea Chandler wins because she's big. Don't bet on it. Be very careful. Confidence very low. You cannot, if I miss this one and I get that one, that is not a 50% pick. You got to look at it objectively. You got to hear the words. You got to take into account all the outside factors. Not all picks are equal. There's your warning. Don't be like, well, Angelo said Chelsea Chandler. Here's my life savings on giant ass Chelsea Chandler. Speaking of giants, we got a couple of heavyweights. We got Karl Williams taking on Jhonata Diniz. This is actually a good fight. This is a prospect-determining fight. We got Karl Williams, the wrestler, with actual real-life wrestling credentials and wrestling experience before his MMA career. He has 19 takedowns in the UFC. He averages about 5 per fight. He has striking as well, where he's just always looking to send that big right hand. He sends everything with power, manages to keep his strikes straight and solid. When he sees that you're hurt, he will open up. He will go crazy, and he'll hunt for that finish. He's coming off that decision win over Justin Tafa, where he had 7 takedowns. He's taking on Jhonata Diniz. Jhonata Diniz is a very good striker. He's got clean technique, incredible power. He throws in combinations. He's got clean defense, great speed for his size, and professional kickboxing experience. His takedown defense is solid, but it's relatively untested. He's only 7-0, but he has 7 stoppages. This is a good fight. These are the type of fights that we need to pay attention to, because this will determine one of these gentlemen's career trajectory. If Karl Williams blows through Jhonata, it's like, hey, Karl Williams might be a guy that we should be ranking or give him a ranked opponent talking about. If Jhonata blows through Karl Williams, it's like, this guy's one of the better heavyweight strikers. What are we going to do with him? This is going to determine who of these gentlemen can be a very real prospect. Diniz is a very dangerous striker with a 100% finish rate. Williams is a wrestler who can control where this fight actually takes place. They're both on nice win streaks. Both can set themselves up for a ranked opponent, but only one of them can dictate where this fight goes. And for that reason, I am going to pick Karl Williams. Karl Williams can decide, hey, I don't like the striking, let's go to the ground. Karl Williams can decide, I'm having a ton of success striking, let's keep it here. So I got to go with the guy who can dictate where this fight goes. I do think we get a grapple-heavy fight, and I think Karl Williams wins it, and I think he extends his win streak to 8. So Karl Williams is going to be the pick. Also, I look nothing like Jhonata Diniz, but lately people have been, Angelo looks like this guy, Angelo looks like that guy. And here's another thing for you people. Yesterday, during UFC Abu Dhabi, I got a text message from Josh Thompson. If you don't know who Josh Thompson is, he's on another show, weighing in podcast, former fighter, all those things. He sent me a text. I know him in real life. He sent me a text. Hey, I'm about to go live. You want to hop on my show with me? And I was like, well, Jacob's live on my channel. I'm competing with myself, but I'll hop on with you. What do I care? So I hop on. I'm doing the show with him. So it's me, Josh Thompson, and his producer on his show, on his channel. His channel's got like 121,000 subscribers. And we're just watching the fights, talking about the fights. And some people in that live chat know me from here, from We Want Picks. And we get a comment. And his producer's like reading comments because like the software they use, I can't really see it. So the producer's like, we have a comment here. And this comment says, it's good to see Angelo's doing well and that the AIDS isn't keeping him down. So now I'm on somebody else's channel with 120-something thousand subscribers explaining why the community thinks I have AIDS. I need you guys. Listen, when we're at home and we're in the We Want Picks universe, it's okay. Be you, right? That's what we love. When Jacob's telling people I've got horrible diseases and saying nonsense, that's in our universe. But when I step out and I'm in somebody else's house, we can't. We can't. I'm live on the internet explaining to people why other people think I've got AIDS. That can't be it, guys. I'm trusting you. I'm trusting you when I do things out in the universe. Maybe a thank you, Dan. No problem. But the AIDS? Come on, guys. I don't look like Jhonata. Or like Pannie Kianzad. Don't even come at me with that. But we do have a very good fight here. We got Karol Rosa taking on Pannie Kianzad. Karol Rosa, busy striker. Very busy striker. She lands almost 6 significant strikes per minute. A little more than 6 significant strikes per minute. She is willing to trade. She's a decision fighter, though, even though there's some glimpses of power here and there. She's got solid takedown offense, solid takedown defense. 11 takedowns in 9 UFC fights and a solid 68% takedown defense. She does not have a ton of power, but she does have cardio. She does have pressure. She's coming off that fight of the night loss to Irene Aldana, where she landed an insane 204 significant strikes. And you might say, oh, was that a 5-rounder? No, that was a 3-round fight. 204 significant strikes in a 3-round fight, and she lost. That's how busy Karol Rosa is. She's taking on Pannie Kianzad. Pannie Kianzad's a very good, just pure boxer. She never throws one punch at a time. Her footwork is very good. She can outstrike a lot of people in this division. Takedown defense is pretty good. It's at 66%, but it did fail her in her last fight. She's coming off that quick submission loss to Macy Chiasson that absolutely destroyed my over 2.5 bet. I wasn't happy about that. Karol's volume in her last fight was insane. Those were Max Holloway numbers. That cannot be ignored. The same pressure, the same volume from that fight in this fight wins her this fight. Karol has occasional power. She's got volume. She has grit. I think Pannie is going to be the more technical striker here. Her boxing is very clean. But if she's on her back foot, because Karol Rosa is throwing 200 some odd strikes in her face, she's not going to be able to find her rhythm. Rosa is the pick. And I'm about to say the over 2.5 should be safe, but I got burned on that last time with Pannie Kianzad. But I think Karol Rosa is in a good position here to win this fight. And it's kind of a shame because Pannie hitting a little bit of a skid's going to suck because I think Pannie Kianzad's good, but Karol Rosa, just the sheer volume, the ability to wrestle, like she's good. She's sneaky good. And yeah, she's got a couple of losses, but those are just tough matchups in an interesting division. And before we move on to this main card, let me move some money out of my bank account into yours. Go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. Use the affiliate link to sign up with any one of our partners. Make a deposit. We send you $50. It's affiliate marketing. You got to use the link. And once you use the link, you get tagged to our affiliate program. And then after you make your account and a deposit, they'll pay me. And then I will slice off $50 of that money and give it to you as a thank you. I get paid. You get paid. It works out for everybody. WeWantPicks.com/bets. And if you're not a premium member, become a premium member. It's insane not to be at this point. It's only $10 a month. And there's a million sales pitches I can go to. I can talk about, well, it's a great way to support us, which it is. I can talk about they're the greatest tools on planet Earth, which they are. I can say, guys, we're cleaning up week in and week out. Go check the comments. Go check the community. Everybody's making money. I can go that direction. Or I can say, it's the greatest value in this space, period, end of story. If you want to copy paste bets, you can do that. If you want to use data tools, if you want to use inside information to help you do your own research, you can do that. If you just want to support us, you can do that. It is all of the above. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member. It is only $10 for an entire month. UFC 305 is the next event after this one. That will be included in your 1 month. And finally, speaking of UFC 305, I will be filming a vlog. I film a vlog for every single pay-per-view event. They're different content, but they're pretty fun. We cook some phenomenal food. A bunch of people come over. We watch the fights together. Part of the vlog is I open up the mail. You guys send letters. You send stuff. You send food. A couple of small businesses send their products for me to open and use. If you want to send something, whether it's a letter or some ridiculous hot sauce that's going to give me stomach issues for a few days, you can do that. We Want Picks, P.O. Box 406 in Prosper, Texas, 750 7-8. And let's go ahead and hit this main card. And actually, just a little bit of a little misdirection from me because the Karol Rosa fight was actually on the main card. But there's only 11 fights on this card right now. So I didn't want to do the whole promo after 5 fights. Let me do the promo after 6 fights. So, you know, there's a little insight into production value on a video on YouTube. But this is also a very good fight. We got Damon Jackson taking on Chepe Mariscal. This is a fight I've struggled with. I have gone back and forth. I make the pick and then I look at it. I make the pick and I go, God damn, dude, Damon Jackson's hair looks good. And the confidence that comes along with the new hair means something. I'm not even being sarcastic. So let's break down this fight and we'll talk about some of my concerns. We got Chepe Mariscal. Chepe Mariscal is a guy that we've been high on in the past. I think we've picked him to win every single fight so far. And I get he's coming off a controversial win, but we've picked him to win in every fight. And so far been successful. He has an impressive resume. He's got BJJ championships on there, kickboxing champion on that resume. He was a collegiate wrestler. He's got solid striking as well. He isn't willing to engage in a firefight. He gets takedowns when he needs them. He's an absolute dog. He is coming off that controversial win over Morgan Charrier, where he couldn't really hang with the striking, so he started grappling pretty heavy. He's taking on Damon Jackson. Damon Jackson's a very good grappler. He will snatch things up in scrambles. He will slug it out on the feet. He'll use that to set up some takedowns. He doesn't typically have a lot of power in his hands, but he has some heavy shots that he'll land and then immediately look to wrestle. Low 35% takedown accuracy, but that's because he's just nonstop shooting, and he will live up to his nickname of the Leech. If he gets you to the ground, it is very hard to get back up. He is coming off that grapple-heavy win over Alexander Hernandez, where the striking looked improved, but he did get dropped in the 3rd round. This is the first time in the UFC that Chepe Mariscal is a favorite. He has been an underdog in every other fight in the UFC. This is the first time he's a favorite. And this is not, the next statement out of my mouth is not based off of fact. But I feel like anytime we've had that happen, somebody who was underestimated and overperforms and works their way up, bang, becomes a huge favorite, that's when they shit the bed. It's not based off fact. That was just a thought that I had. But Chepe is a heavy pressure guy. He can wrestle. He can strike. He is impossible to break. He's a dog. You're not going to break Chepe. And this is going to sound crazy. It's almost too easy to pick Chepe here. And I'm not trying to make life difficult for myself, but sometimes it's not that obvious. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not. Yes, Chepe is winning in the UFC, but they've been closer fights than they needed to be. And a couple of gift decisions. Damon Jackson with the new hair, the hair transplant, has been the best version of him that we have ever seen. Chepe can be taken down. Damon comes in, he's wrestle heavy, he shoots early, he can have some success. Chepe is going to be the pick because I have nothing to use to pick against Chepe other than I have a gut feeling he's going to blow it here. But Chepe is going to be the pick. But a very determined, thick-haired Damon Jackson, who is going to shoot nonstop, can absolutely win this fight. Be careful. Do not overly exposed. I was going to say don't overly expose yourself, but then it's going to be like, you expose yourself. Okay. That was Michael Scott with his finger hanging out, pretending to be the Flasher in the Office. That's what that was. Don't be overly exposed with Chepe. Don't throw him in 9 parlays and then come commenting here on Saturday night. Oh, I was going to hit my 49 leg parlay until Chepe. He probably wins. He's the more well-rounded fighter, but a very determined wrestler with phenomenal control like Damon Jackson could get a takedown in the 1st round, get a takedown in the 3rd, somehow squeeze out 2 rounds, win a split decision. That is possible. Chepe's going to be the pick because he's the better fighter, but I just be careful, guys, okay? I mean, I'm looking out for you. I want everybody to do well. You making money only helps me, so be careful. Then we have Allan Nascimento taking on Joffel Filio. This is another very good fight. This is a good fight that, again, will determine the trajectory of one of these gentlemen's careers. They're both doing really well. They both got a couple of good wins. The losses are quality on both of their resumes. And they're in a division that's sort of in flux right now. They just removed one of the biggest threats to this division in Muhammad Mokaev, which kind of opens the door. And João Filho has experience fighting Muhammad Mokaev. We got Allan Nascimento. He's a fun striker. He likes to grapple as well. He doesn't have much to offer in the wrestling department, but he has no problem getting into a brawl, getting taken down, and working some sweeps from there. The problem is, if he can't get a sweep or create a scramble, he's just going to be on his back. He's going to be on bottom the whole time like a turtle upside down, just getting pounded on. He's got okay power in his hands, but a very low 26% takedown accuracy, a very low 16% takedown defense. He's coming off that upset win over Carlos Hernandez, where he was fast, he did land nice with the clean combinations, and he was just light years ahead on the ground. But he's not going to be light years ahead on the ground here because he's fighting João Filho. João Filho is a fast-paced guy who will engage in a firefight or look to work takedowns. He can get wild with his striking, but he's fast and he throws heat. His takedown defense is solid. He has offensive takedowns of his own as well. He's mostly looking to strike, but if you pressure him, he's not going to like it and he will grapple. On the ground, he's a beast. He's a beast. Famously, he had Muhammad Mokaev's knee facing in the wrong direction. He's coming off that first-round submission win over O'Day Osborne, where O'Day literally landed 0 strikes. 0 strikes. And that's his second first-round submission in a row. I'm going to pick Joffel. He's the underdog. And I'm going to pick Joffel here. He's very dangerous. He's good everywhere. He's been far more active, but Joffel only has one single decision win in his career. And Allan has never been finished. That is my concern. That's my only concern here. I need Joffel to be smart with his aggression. I don't want him punching himself out. Be smart. Take your time. If he had a few more decision wins in his career, I think he'd be the best underdog on this card and I would load up. But he only has one decision. And that's concerning. Joffel is going to be the pick. I'm going to keep an eye on the odds. Right now, João Filho is plus 175. Those are very good odds for somebody as good, as dangerous, and as busy, meaning busy in the octagon. Allan hasn't fought in like a year and a half. João Filho has fought several times in the last year, 3. And he's looked good. João Filho is going to be the pick. But damn, I wish he was a little more durable. Then we have another very good fight. Pretty straightforward, though. Again, we talked earlier, not all picks are the same. The pick I'm going to give you for this fight is a confident pick. This one, go ahead, win or lose. But don't go back to the freaking Chelsea Chandler fight and weigh that pick at the same confidence that I'm about to give you this one. We got Jarno Errens taking on Youssef Zalal. Jarno Errens, not terrible. Solid striking, solid takedowns when he needs them. He is primarily a striker. He likes to come forward. He wants to dictate that striking pace. He does a very nice job working the body, then going up to the head as well as mixing in kicks. He throws everything with power, and that does make him dangerous, but it also sets him up to be taken down. He overly commits, overly extends while chasing that power. He is coming off that underdog win over Steven Wynn, where he had a knockdown and almost doubled the strikes. He's taken on Youssef Zalal. Youssef Zalal was cut from the UFC a few years ago or last year. Got a bunch of wins on the regional scene, stepped up, came back on short notice, and looked better than we had seen him. Style-wise, very well-rounded fighter. He likes to hang out on the outside, and then he'll come in with the takedowns. He averages more than 2 takedowns per fight, but he does have a lowish accuracy of 34%. His striking style is stay on the outside and point fight. He's a high IQ guy that can be low volume, but he has incredible defense. He has only hit with 1.73 significant strikes per minute, which, considering that he has 6 decisions in the UFC, is an absolutely remarkable statistic. I used to be a Youssef Zalal hater. I thought he was a little boring, but I'm a changed man. He's very good everywhere. And while he's not the most exciting guy on the roster, his willingness to fight smart is why I'm so confident in him here. Youssef is the pick. One of my most confident picks on this entire card, and let's hope he gets some redemption. He was dating Macy Barber. Now Macy Barber's posting pictures with some other guy from the gym. So I don't know who ended it, but let's bros rooting for bros. Let's Youssef Zalal go out there looking handsome as ever, dominate this fight looking good, and let's have Macy being like, damn, what'd I do? Damn. And again, maybe he ended it. Maybe he's a cheater. I don't know. But, bros, let's give the bro the benefit of the doubt. Let's go Youssef. Then we have that disappointment, Javid Bajarat taking on Chris Gutierrez. And you can see the disdain, and that's because he was in the safety parlay last time he fought. And he blew it. He blew it. We'll talk about that, but he blew it. I remember that. I remember when I put somebody in a safety parlay and they blow it. Listen, if a judge blows it, it is what it is. If you blow it, I'm going to hold on to that grudge. I'm a woman scorned. We got Chris Gutierrez. This guy's a good kickboxer. He's got great low kicks, good cage control. He's got good volume at more than 5 significant strikes landed per minute, or right around 5 significant strikes landed per minute. He's got solid cardio. He can keep a nice pace. There's no secrets to his game plan. He wants to plot forward, land those leg kicks to slow you down, and then throw the bombs to try to put you out up top. He's got good takedown defense at 69%. He has good takedowns offensively-ish. When he needs them, he doesn't go to them often, but if he needs to, they are there. And he's coming off that close loss to Song Yadong, where he was winning the striking exchanges, but he was just getting taken down. He's taking on Javid Bajaret. This guy's a grappler. He's got incredible offensive and defensive wrestling. He absolutely has no problems with a kickboxing match either, and lands at a decent volume of more than 5 significant strikes per minute. He averages fewer than 3 significant strikes being landed per minute, meaning he's hitting people 6 times, getting hit less than 3. And that's a really nice ratio. And that's because of that movement, constantly going in and out. Doesn't hang out in the pocket too long. We have seen him out-grapple people. We've seen him out-strike people. And he is coming off of that bullshit loss to Ayman Zahabi, where he was just moving forward, throwing one punch at a time, no combinations. And frankly, if I ease up on the Javid hate a little bit from that fight, I do think Ayman's coaches helped him there by screaming. Ayman would land the softest jab, and they're like, yay! And then that's all the judges hear. Like, wow, it looks like he's winning. Javid's stupid-ass movement, attempting takedowns, but like only with 20% conviction and then backing out, was just really not good optically. And that is why he lost that decision. And listen, Javid should win here. He should win. He's the better fighter. He was also the better fighter in his last fight, and he blew it. If Javid comes in with the same wrestle-heavy game plan he had against Mandanka, then I love this fight for him. But if he comes in looking like he did against Ayman, throwing one punch at a time, fake wrestling, not real wrestling, he might lose again. He might lose again. And now we're going to have a prospect on a skid. Hopefully he learned from that loss. He retools. He's going to be a little more aggressive. He's going to wrestle a little more than he should. Hopefully that's what happens here. I'm holding a grudge from the busted safety parlay, but I am going to pick Javid. He's not going to be in the safety. I need to see that he makes adjustments before I can confidently bet on him and put it out to the almost 4,000 premium members in the world. So Javid's going to be the pick because he's the better fighter, but let's hope he wrestles a little bit and gets that going. And then we have a main event rematch. We got Marcin Tybura taking on Sergey Spivac. This is a rematch from 2020. Marcin Tybura won a pretty straightforward fight. He had success striking and landed a handful of takedowns. Wasn't the most exciting fight we've ever seen, but it was pretty straightforward. But you guys know, when we talk about rematches, I don't put a lot of credence into them if they're more than a couple years old. And this is about 4 years old at this point. We got Marcin Tybura. He's not young. He's 38 years old. He's got one of the wildest haircuts I've ever seen. Look at this. Look at the haircut. Hey, can I get a mohawk, but like really wide and only on one side? Actually, can you give me a comb over, but just shave it bald on the other side? That's what look at this haircut. Look at it. That's insane. That's insane. Is he like trying to hide the fact that he's losing his hair? Or is this like, what the hell is it? What is that? Anyway, I might change my pick now. Look at that. We got Marcin Tybura. He's a durable guy. He's a grinder. He never quits. He's pretty busy. His striking is just okay. He's more of a punches and bunches kind of guy. The strikes are really there to set up the takedowns. If he gets a takedown, he'll punch on you until you quit. And he doesn't need to look for submissions. Tybura averages a little more than 1 takedown per fight. He's got a low 33% takedown accuracy. Instead of clean doubles, instead of singles and running the pipe, he relies on body locks, trips, cage control to get you to the ground. He's coming off that first round submission win over Tai Tuivasa. He's taking on Sergey Spivac. He is a heavyweight grappler as well. He's got great ground and pound, solid takedowns. He has okay submissions, and he is a capable striker. He doesn't have knockout power, but he does have a decent jab and solid volume. His biggest issue, though, is control. The reason he averages around 5 takedowns per fight is because people are standing up on him. They're just standing up. He's coming off that second round KO loss to Cyril Gane, where it was just clear that Sergey's striking is not ready for the top 5. Marcin already won this fight. He did it in pretty straightforward fashion. It was years ago, and I'm the first person that sits here when I talk about rematches saying, that was years ago. I don't give a shit. I don't care what happened 4 years ago. People evolve. But this is actually a little different because I don't think they have evolved. I mean, what is Sergey Spivac doing better now than he did then? Obviously, there's going to be incremental improvements, but he's fundamentally the same guy. And since he lost to Marcin Tybura, we saw one of the sloppiest, most ridiculous fights in history when he fought Alexei Olenek. If you have seen that fight, you will never bet on Sergey Spivac. That was one of the most ridiculous fights. It looked like a tumbling class for children. It was ridiculous how bad that was. Ridiculous. That was also a few years ago, and Sergey hasn't looked that atrocious since. But that will always be in the back of my mind. The point being to all of this is if Sergey can get the takedowns, he can win. If he can't, he loses. Tybura's got good takedown defense. Tybura is defending takedowns left and right. In fact, the only person that has taken Marcin Tybura down in 6 years was Alexander Romanov, and Tybura went on to win that fight. I think Tybura wins here, but these are heavyweights. One of them is 38 years old with the most insane haircut I have ever seen, so you need to proceed with caution. I'm going to go Marcin Tybura here. I am likely going to have no money on this fight because at the end of the day, Sergey Spivac is 9 years younger. 9 years younger. And age does matter, but Marcin Tybura is going to be the pick because, frankly, I think he can squeeze out a takedown or two, defend the sloppiness coming back his way. Guys, that is the breakdown. I encourage you to become a premium member. We focus very heavily on making sure you have the best premium membership experience and product on planet Earth. Premium membership is not a Discord. It is not a Patreon. It is a full-blown website that we have put thousands of hours into, to designing, to developing, to building, to make it as few clicks as possible to find what you're looking for, to make it as visually appealing as possible, to make it work on your phone with dynamic sizing. Go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member at the top. It is $10 for an entire month. That month will include UFC 305. You're going to get tools like the Data Analyzer. It's a brand new tool, one of the greatest tools on the planet. It has a tape index built into it. It has graphing that you can export. It has future events all the way through September, interactive data, stackable filters. It's the greatest research tool in the world. You're also going to get the Prop Hunter. This is a curated set of data that you can use to find prop bets. You're also going to get the line movement tracker, opening odds, current odds, win probability, line movement for every fighter on every card. You're also going to get a DraftKings optimizer that builds DraftKings lineups for you. You're also going to get the safety parlay. 7-2 in the last 9 events. The event win percentage bumped up to 73%. The safety parlay hits at an incredible accuracy. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member. It's freaking $10 for an entire month. Guys, that's the breakdown. I appreciate you. Our views lately have been insane. Over 400,000 unique views on a rolling 30. I cannot thank you guys enough. The amount of people that click the subscribe button, the amount of people that comment, the amount of people that interact with us, do the thank you, Dan Chance, all that stuff, none of it is lost on me. I'm just a regular dude with 2 little kids doing this, trying to build something special, trying to share it with all of you, and I'm feeling the love. I thank every last one of you. Let's have as good of a weekend this weekend as we did last.